Welcome back to our channel, dear friends. Over the many years I have spent watching General Hospital, I have seen countless young characters grow up. But watching Jocelyn Jack step into this new chapter has me feeling a profound sense of protective worry. I remember when she was just a little girl running around the Metro Court, and now she is standing on the precipice of a massive international conspiracy. She is no longer just the spirited teenager we used to know. She is now being thrust into a highly complex assignment with the WSB that she clearly did not want. I can completely understand her frustration, as she was eager to get out into the field and experience real action, only to be handed what looks like a dull desk job right here in town. However, looking at the situation closely, I strongly believe this is not just a simple administrative role. The WSB has ordered her to stay in Port Charles and run Jasper Jack's enterprises, and that directive alone makes me incredibly suspicious about their true motives. Why would a massive intelligence agency force a young woman to take over her father's company unless they were using her as bait? Jack Brennan has been offering some very sharp insights lately, and I find myself agreeing entirely with his evaluation of this bizarre scenario. Brennan suspects that the WSB is actively targeting Jasper Jack's enterprises, or perhaps one of its many shadowy subsidiaries, and I think he has hit the nail right on the head. The agency is clearly using Jocelyn as a convenient bridge to gain access to highly classified corporate information. As a longtime viewer, it makes my blood boil a little bit to see them manipulating a young woman who is just trying to find her footing in the world. They know she is in the absolute best position to dig into the company files without raising immediate red flags. But this begs a very serious question that keeps me awake at night. Does the WSB actually care about Jocelyn's safety, or is she just collateral damage in their grand scheme to take down a corporate empire? The official story being pushed right now is that Jasper Jax willingly handed over the CEO position to his daughter before embarking on a peaceful sailing trip around the world. I have to be completely honest with you all, I do not buy that story for a single second. I have watched Jax for decades, and while he certainly loves an adventure, he loves his daughter far more than anything else on this earth. Jax is a man who has always valued his freedom, but he has never been the type to abandon his responsibilities or his family. The idea that he would just casually dump the massive responsibility of a global corporation onto Jocelyn's shoulders and vanish into the ocean without a proper, heartfelt goodbye goes against everything I know about his character. My personal opinion is that this sailing trip is a complete fabrication designed to cover up something much darker. What if Jax never even made it onto that boat and this entire narrative was created by someone trying to steal his legacy right out from under him? This terrifying thought brings me to a prediction that fills me with genuine dread. I strongly suspect that Jax might be dead, or at the very least, being held hostage in some remote location. The sheer panic I feel when I think about Jocelyn eventually discovering that her father did not abandon her, but was actually taken from her, is overwhelming. She is currently operating under the assumption that he is out there living his best life, enjoying the ocean breeze, completely unaware of the heavy burden she is carrying. If my theory is correct, the emotional fallout for Jocelyn will be absolutely devastating. Evaluating the current clues, the suddenness of his departure, and the immediate WSB intervention point directly to a massive cover-up. How long will it take for Jocelyn to realize that the silence from her father is not because he is out of cell service, but because he has been silenced by a dangerous enemy? Despite the swirling rumors and the WSB's obvious suspicions, Jocelyn remains fiercely loyal to her father, and I deeply admire her unwavering faith in him. She knows Jax better than anyone, and she is absolutely certain that he is not some notorious crime boss hiding behind a corporate suit. She rightly points out that this is not a situation like Jen Sidwell, where there is a long, documented history of criminal behavior and a terrible reputation just waiting to be exposed. Jax has always operated in the gray areas of business, sure, but he has never been a ruthless cartel leader or a mobster. My heart goes out to Jocelyn because I can see how desperately she wants to clear his name and protect the empire he built from scratch. She is fighting a lonely battle to preserve his legacy, but I worry that her blind faith in his goodness might prevent her from seeing the very real monsters lurking in the shadows of his company. This brings us to the most unsettling part of this entire storyline: the presence of Hudson Parker. Just looking at this man on my television screen gives me an uneasy feeling in the pit of my stomach. Hudson is one of those shady corporate executives who clearly believes he is the smartest person in any room he walks into. I evaluate him as a classic opportunist the kind of snake who waits for the boss to look away so he can line his own pockets. If Jax was distracted or genuinely unaware of the day-to-day operations at the lowest levels of his subsidiaries, men like Hudson would absolutely take advantage of that blind spot. I firmly believe Hudson is running some sort of illegal operation right under the umbrella of Jasper Jax Enterprises, completely hidden from Jax's view. What kind of horrific secrets is this man hiding behind his smug smiles and tailored suits? One thing that brings me a tiny bit of satisfaction is seeing just how much Hudson Parker severely underestimates Jocelyn. He looks at her and sees a naive college girl who has no business sitting in the CEO's chair, and he clearly thinks he can easily manipulate her or keep her in the dark. In my personal opinion, this arrogant underestimation will be his ultimate downfall. He clearly does not realize that Jocelyn has inherited her mother Carly's fiery temper and her father Jax's relentless stubbornness. I predict that the moment Hudson tries to pull the wool over her eyes, Jocelyn is going to snap back with a ferocity that will leave him completely stunned. It is always thrilling to watch a villain dig their own grave simply because they refuse to respect the strength of the young woman standing right in front of them. Will Hudson realize his massive mistake before Jocelyn completely dismantles his secret operation? Jocelyn initially complained that this assignment was just a boring desk job, but I am feeling a deep sense of anxiety because this situation is rapidly becoming incredibly dangerous. Sitting behind a desk might seem safe, but when that desk holds the financial records of a compromised global corporation, it becomes the most dangerous place in the world. The WSB has a long, documented history of being utterly ruthless when it comes to getting what they want, and they would not be wasting their time and resources investigating Jasper Jax Enterprises unless there were massive international stakes involved. By digging into these files, Jocelyn is essentially poking a sleeping bear with a very short stick. I evaluate her current position as highly volatile. She thinks she is just following a boring paper trail, but she is actually walking straight into a minefield of corporate espionage and organized crime. How can we as viewers not feel terrified for her when she has no idea just how lethal her new enemies truly are? The deeper Jocelyn digs into the company's history, the more I find myself holding my breath during every single one of her scenes. The narrative is building this incredible tension, showing us that she is on the verge of uncovering something truly horrifying. I feel a strong mixture of excitement and dread as she pieces together the puzzle of Hudson's hidden activities and the truth about her father's disappearance. It is a brilliant piece of storytelling that forces us to think deeply about the consequences of uncovering family secrets. If she finds out that Jax was betrayed by his own people, or worse, that the company he built is being used to fund terrible things, it will shatter her worldview. I predict that these upcoming discoveries will forever change the trajectory of her life, forcing her to abandon her innocence once and for all. What specific dark truth is waiting for her in those encrypted company files? Watching Jocelyn navigate this terrifying corporate landscape makes me reflect on how much she has grown over the years. I feel a genuine sense of pride seeing her step up to defend her family's name, even when she is completely out of her depth. She is no longer letting others fight her battles. She is taking charge, demanding answers, and refusing to back down from intimidating figures like Hudson Parker. In my opinion, this storyline is the ultimate coming-of-age journey for her character. She is learning that the world is not black and white, and that protecting the people you love sometimes requires making very dangerous choices. It is fascinating to evaluate her psychological shift from a carefree young woman to a fiercely protective guardian of the Jax family legacy. Will this intense pressure ultimately forge her into a stronger leader, or will it break her spirit entirely? As we look toward the future, I predict that this storyline is going to explode into a massive action-packed confrontation. The WSB is eventually going to demand results from Jocelyn, and Hudson Parker is inevitably going to realize that she is onto him. When those two forces collide, Jocelyn is going to be caught right in the middle of a very deadly crossfire. I am incredibly worried that her lack of formal field training will leave her vulnerable when the corporate games end and the real violence begins. The people running these shadow operations will not hesitate to silence anyone who threatens their bottom line, even the daughter of the company's founder. They operate in the dark, far away from the rules and regulations that normal businesses follow. I evaluate the impending danger as the highest stakes Jocelyn has ever faced in her entire life. Who will she be able to trust when she realizes that the WSB might be just as corrupt as the criminals they are trying to catch? Ultimately, this complex web of lies surrounding Jasper Jack's enterprises has completely captivated my attention, and I cannot wait to see how it all unfolds. The emotional weight of Jocelyn fighting so desperately to protect a father who might already be gone is truly heartbreaking to witness. I feel a deep connection to her struggle, as we all know what it is like to want to protect the legacy of the people we love. My final prediction is that Jocelyn will indeed uncover the terrible secrets Hudson is hiding, but the cost of that truth will be higher than she ever imagined. She is going to have to make some impossible choices to save her family's empire, and I will be sitting right here, glued to my screen, cheering her on every step of the way. Do you think she has what it takes to outsmart both the WSB and the corporate villains hiding in plain sight?